Hello, and welcome to episode one of Wild Wiles Sports.
Hello. We're excited. We've never done this before, so we're just tickled. We hope you enjoy this as much as we do. We talk basketball all the time on the phone, on Zoom, in person together. So we thought, God, we need to share this with folks. This is
Absolutely.
so that's what we're here doing. Let's introduce ourselves, and so I'm going to turn it over to Elaine. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where your love of basketball comes from, and just how'd you get your start in life and in enjoying this great sport that we both love.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Elaine Wiles. I'm the co-host and co-founder of Wild Wiles Sports. But I started playing basketball, I think I was three at the YMCA, and my mom was my coach. All I really remember was getting snacks after the game, but I stuck with it and played competitively all the way up through high school. I was a three-year varsity player. I played in the highest class in the state of Nebraska. I was a 43% three-point shooter my junior year, and
That
I
ain't
was
bad.
I was
That's not
varsity
bad.
captain my senior year. Um, I decided to go to school just for academics at Colorado School of Mines, but I am on the club women's basketball team here, which is a lot of fun. So that's kind of my
Yeah.
background in basketball. Always been a fan, especially a college fan, but WNBA is pretty new. But obviously, like I said, I got started in basketball because of my mom. So I want to hear a little bit about your background in basketball.
Well, yeah, sure. And I will be happy to do that because I do love to talk about my own self. That's part of why we're doing this podcast. But I want to point out with Elaine, Elaine was a joy to watch as a player all the way through because it really didn't matter. I mean, I know she said the snacks were fun for her, but man, she laid it out there. She was always the to me, I'd say the smartest player on the team, which makes sense. Now she's doing the engineering and at the Colorado School of Mines, which is a really tough school, and so we're super proud of her. But I mean, she has a very high basketball IQ. So it's fun to talk about basketball with Elaine. I'm Elaine's mom. And so Roxanne Wiles, I was born when Title IX became the law of the land. So you can imagine, so I just told you, I'm 52. You can imagine that this has been quite a journey to watch what basketball has been like. When I started playing, there was no place for me to play when I was 3 years old, except out in the driveway with my mom. So my mom, rest in peace, we lost her last year. She was an all-state player in Iowa, where they were getting it right for a long time. So
Oh yeah.
she taught me some stuff. But I didn't even get my first chance to go to any kind of basketball camp until fourth grade, and that was even weird. That was unique. That we didn't have something locally for little kids to play, so I went up to Omaha to go to camps. But anyway, ended up being a all-state basketball player at Plattsmouth and broke all the records, still have all the records, whatever. And then I went to play basketball at UNO, University of Nebraska at Omaha, so go Mavs. And then I was in education, I still am, and I coached for quite a while, not just at the Y, I also coached at the high school level. So I've been a fan. I've been a casual fan though. And what I mean by that is, I like the hometown teams. I like the big name teams. I love the Yukons, the Tennessees, and all
hmm
that. So I followed like when it got to playoff time and whatever. But with the WNBA, I got to apologize to the WNBA really to
For real.
start. You guys have been around since '97, I guess.
hmm
And we went to a couple of games when you
hmm
guys were little, and we'd be there with like six fans in the stands, and it was good basketball, but I mean, it was also like not what it is today. And so I just give credit to all of those pioneers that kept going. We're the ones that were missing the boat because we got in on it hard this year. Were we part of the Caitlin Clark effect, the Angel Reese? Maybe. It doesn't matter. We're here now. I have
Hmm.
never followed a league or multiple teams. Like I'm sure I've seen every team in the WNBA play at least twice.
Yeah.
And most of them way more than that because we got the league pass. And I mean, we just kind of built our summer around
Oh
when we
yeah.
watched. And then, how do we debrief and what do we talk about? And so we thought we better bring this to the people
Absolutely.
because these insights. And then I hope you notice, those of you that watch this podcast, this was not planned. Our two
Mm-mm.
backgrounds. Explain what we got going on, Elaine, for our
Okay, well,
listeners.
yeah, so when we joined the Zoom, we're recording this on Zoom, I was like, oh, I'm gonna put up a background of a basketball behind me, and my mom is gonna be so surprised when I join the Zoom. Then I get into the Zoom, and my mom has a basketball arena as her background.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we were both
So,
expecting to surprise each other.
and we did, but
I was
it's
surprised.
yeah, I guess, yeah, yeah. So anyway, just get ready for way more, a lot of hilarious things like that if
Hmm.
you're going to continue to watch because
Usually on the same page.
we're usually on the same page. Yeah, yeah. So let's just talk broadly. I know we had a game last night, game
We're gonna get into
three,
it.
and we're going to get into it. But let's just talk about this season with the WNBA. Like, what has been your favorite part of it? Or I'll just leave it up to you. What's surprised you? What's made you excited? Take it any direction you want, but what do you really love about the WNBA?
I just kind of love that everybody loves the WNBA right now. It is just so exciting. Everyone is excited about it. I went to 5 games, and I mean, one was the skills challenge, but I'm counting it as a game. But um, no, it's just such an incredible atmosphere. And everyone's so excited. I know like friends from high school where like their middle-aged dads are just like, I love the Fever. I love Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And like one of our friends, shout out to the Dodgers, her dad bought a Caitlin Clark shirt, and his teenage daughter was like, "Oh, you got me a shirt." He goes, "No, this is for me."
That's right. I was I 100% agree. The excitement is not just the basketball junkies anymore. I went to Costco the other day and I had on a shirt that just had WNBA. It didn't have a team, no allegiance to anyone, just WNBA. And I get out of my car and in the parking lot, an older lady is like, "I love that shirt. Go Lynx." I'm like, what? I mean, I'm not wearing Lynx gear, but and then I go further into Costco. No, three people in Costco, three middle-aged. Well, one was kind of like a younger guy, a couple of middle-aged men, and they'd be like, yeah, go Lynx, go Lynx. I suppose with the Midwest link, we are, I guess we should tell them where we're located. I'm in Plattsmouth, Nebraska, where I live. And Elaine,
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm from Nebraska, grew up in Omaha, and I'm out in Colorado right now for school.
right. So here we are, Midwest and Colorado, and we're seeing the excitement all over the place. So this isn't just now, something that basketball junkies or women's basketball junkies are into. Look at the viewership. Look at that game last night. Uh,
19,000.
19,500 and something. It's
Yeah.
a record. The games we've been to. Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an event and it's an atmosphere that is unmatched.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess another more technical thing that I just love about the WNBA is that like, you know, obviously the Liberty have been the best team in the league like all season, but
Is
they
that
still
obviously? Is that obviously, Elaine? I'm not.
I,
I'm not ready to
I mean
co-sign on
that's
that.
okay.
Okay,
Best record. They've had the best record all season,
fine.
but they lost to the Fever. They lost to three other teams. Like I just loved how like and the Aces were the really good team, lost to Atlanta and lost to the Sparks twice. Like anybody can lose
Yeah,
to anybody.
yeah. It
And it
very
just makes the
strongly.
games really exciting.
It really does. I've got my Aces hat on because that was the first game that we went to this year. We got to see the Aces and the Fever play each other in Las Vegas, which was an incredible atmosphere. Then we even got the opportunity to meet uh, Katie Lou Samuelson. These people are celebrities now, and they're used to
Oh
it. They're
yeah.
used to, oh yeah, hey, I'll take your picture with you. And that, but I again, yeah, the Liberty, fine, but like what you said, there's so much parity across this league that you can't tune in and watch a bad game.
Right. And I think because I mean obviously it's a small league, 144 players, soon to be more with the Valkyries, but it is, I think, hands down, it's the most competitive league in the world. Like no other league in the world has this much talent and this few spots.
Oh, I 100% agree. And it's the most talented league, and it might have the most drama.
That's
And
also
so
true.
who doesn't love a little drama? So let's talk about some of that drama. What drama is percolating? You're more into I try to follow the Twitters and the Instagrams and all that, but I think Elaine is usually my source for the gossip and the info, the intel. So what makes this league so dramatic? There's a few things I think.
hmm Um, I think a lot of it you can see by looking at the Connecticut Sun. I mean, obviously they have Dawana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas who are engaged. And
Mm-hmm.
I just remember this one play in the semifinals. Heinz Allen, you know, goes into Dawana Bonner, scores on her, and then flexes on her fiance.
I mean, what
In what other league does that happen?
exactly? And you've got X's playing against X's, and so I mean, and uh, none of that is the focal point, and it doesn't take away from. It's just facts, and so as we. It just shows. I mean, I imagine like when I was playing in college, it was hush hush. You don't tell anybody that. You're going to ruin the game. You're going to get people turned off from this sport. They're going to think it's all just a bunch of lesbians or whatever. Well, now nobody cares that if it's a bunch of lesbians or not. That's just life. And so I love the diversity and the acceptance and just the overall, like, hey, we're a game for everyone. And if you're a basketball purist, then you want to watch the
Absolutely.
WNBA. I think the NBA is fun to watch when they play too many games. I don't think they play
They
hard
play
enough.
way too many games. Like,
But they're
can you imagine if it was like if it was Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark was in the NBA and somebody paid, like hundreds of dollars a ticket, drove hundreds of miles just to see Caitlin Clark play one time, and she was just like, "Oh, I need to rest this game," like they do in the
yeah,
NBA.
exactly. I mean, that's the other thing about this league. You see, they play every game like it's the playoffs. They play every game
hmm
like it's for the championship because, in essence, it really kind of is
Oh
for
yeah.
seeding. And I mean, they're just and it's also, of course, there's extreme athleticism. Like last night, when do you remember the play where Jonquel Jones was blocking a shot and she about got her pinky caught in the net? I mean, she's
Yeah.
up there. So we're not talking about non-athletes here. We're just not seeing people play 2 feet above the rim.
Right.
and lots of dunks, even though dunks have happened, but I mean, it's just not the norm.
And
So
also
if you love basketball,
not a lot of like ISO ball, like just like, oh, everybody clear out, I'm gonna score. And like, yeah, I'm sure that's fun for someone who's not super into basketball. Like you just see people do crazy athletic things that you can't do. But like you're saying, if you like basketball, you want to watch team basketball. You want to see some passes.
and the team aspect, it seems like the teams that are really good right now, I can't speak to the culture of every single team, but I would love to be on the Liberty. I mean, they seem to really enjoy each other. They enjoy each other's company. They celebrate each other's success. Same with the Lynx. I mean,
Absolutely.
that is a tight team. Aces, look at how they embraced Kate Martin this year, and we can talk more about Kate Martin. Oh, look at your shirt. For those of you listening, Elaine's got her Kate Martin shirt on. That they work on that cohesiveness, which I'm not an expert on the NBA, but I just don't feel like it's the same kind of, I mean, it's almost like a sorority, a sisterhood. I don't know if the NBA is in that same kind of fraternity type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I completely agree. Um, should we jump into the finals? Should we get started in the hard hitting game
I'm
three?
still recovering. I am still recovering from watching that game last night.
Oh
Can
my goodness.
Ooh, all right. So fill our listeners in. If you didn't catch that game, go catch it on the WNBA. Subscribe to the League Pass. I mean, we are not
Absolutely. It's
endorsed
worth
by
it.
it, but it's
No.
totally worth it. And you should watch this game if you haven't. You should watch the whole series if you haven't. But just give us a quick recap. What happened, Elaine? Like
Yeah.
final score, all that stuff. Do you have that right at your fingertips?
I think it was 80 to 77. I just
Yeah.
think yeah. So yeah, the Lynx they jumped up to an early lead in the first half, first quarter, whatever. And then, the Liberty worked their way back, and then it was a really close game, a tie game, and then you should definitely even if you haven't watched the game, you've probably seen the clip. Sabrina Ionescu logo for the win.
Yeah. And she'd been kind of quiet until that fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk later about who's on the all WNBA first team later, but I don't see how a player like Sabrina is not on that first team. But we'll get into
Well,
that.
yeah,
But I mean, I think she was 2 for 7
two for
at that
seven.
point, which she had made a big one. And then she had missed one that could have put the game away.
Yep.
And then that logo 3, where she just got that step on McBride. I wonder how McBride feels about that today. I mean, she got a
I
step
don't
on her.
know. Yeah.
McBride was a beast.
Hmm.
Let's talk about the Lynx for a little bit here.
Yeah.
That team. I mean, there are so many players to love on that team. We've got
Absolutely.
Kayla McBride. She is a dog, and she can
McBuckets.
McBuckets. Exactly. And then Courtney Williams.
Oh,
How big is she showed up? The Liberty have led in this series. I think I wrote it down yesterday, and I was surprised
yeah.
when they
Before
said
game three, they had
they
led for
had led
like,
for 79 minutes. Okay. So in 2 games, the Liberty had led for 79 minutes. But that just demonstrates, you've got people like McBride and Courtney Williams, who came up big in was that game 1 where she hit that 4-point play.
yeah.
Wild. I love her energy. I'm showing my partiality. I know I've got some friends that probably want the Liberty to win. They've never won a championship, but man, I'm partial to those Lynx.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there. But and then we got Bridget Carlton. Uh,
Iowa State grad.
Iowa State grad who had been kind of quiet in this series, but she stepped up last
Absolutely.
night and was hitting some big shots. But what they have, Lynx had like an 18-point lead at some point. Is that right? 15, 18,
15, 15.
15-point lead. Um, and then the Liberty, what do you think was the key to the Liberty coming back? I'm not even
Mm,
sure. I don't know how this happened. It just kind of happened.
yeah. Um, I mean, I think I think the Liberty just like I don't they just came out so slow, which is and slow so flat, which is pretty uncharacteristic of them. Like they have come out hot in both games in the finals, and they had pretty hot starts throughout the playoffs. So I don't know if it was like just the Lynx arena and the fans just like
What'd
you
you
know
think of that arena? I mean, you've been to the arena. I've been to the arena. What'd you think about the atmosphere in that arena last night?
oh my gosh, the whiteout looked crazy. It looked like, have you ever seen like Penn State football games whiteout? And
Yeah.
like they have like, however many tens of thousands of people and they're screaming so loud that the other team has to take a timeout. Like that's what it looked like and I wasn't even there. I was like, "Oh my God, like how can anybody focus like when this crowd is this electric?"
Yeah, and then this and it's not just the finals that the crowds look like that. You know, how many games did you say you're at? Four, and then the skills deal. I
Hmm.
mean, that's the norm in this league, and that's so exciting. And so, I mean, I remember as a player, I can't compare, but there was a couple of teams that would get really good attendance. We used to play up at North Dakota and North Dakota State, and they love their women's basketball up there. And you'd play in those hostile environments, and it'd get under your skin. Now, these girls or these women, they're used to that kind of that kind of intensity and that kind of fan base. But I mean, we're all human. It's got to get to you. It's got to get to you when everybody is when the crowd is deafening and you can't even hear yourself think. So shout out to the Liberty for rising above that. And how fun when you're at the Liberty and you got Spike Lee on the side trash talking and whatever. I mean, it's celebrities, it's that go to the games. And now look, we're the fashion walks that everybody's doing. I mean, how I can't even wrap my mind around, just in my lifetime, how this has evolved to a top tier kind of experience. It's more of like it's a cultural event. It's not just for sports. It's so widespread. And the love for it is growing. You turn on Good Morning America this morning and they're showing that clip. I saw the clip of
And
Sabrina's low three multiple times. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
absolutely.
What other plays or parts of that game stood out to you last night?
Hmm. I think what stood out to me was some improvement from the Lynx from, game two to game three. Like, obviously, they lost game two by a little bit more, was not a
Mhm.
one possession game. So I was really, really impressed by the turnovers being cut down by half. They went from 20 to
Yeah.
10. 10 is, nobody wants any turnovers, but 10 is
Right.
10 is not that bad, especially compared to 20.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the rebounding, like their defensive rebounding was so much better. Like
Yeah.
you could just tell that they wanted them. They wanted those boards. They cut their offensive rebounds given up down from 10 to 6. Um, and just the defense overall. Like they were playing with so much energy and they were playing so hard on defense, like um, they talked about it last night. How many jump balls has Navisa Collier caused?
Yeah, I have that. I wrote that down last night. Let me see. I won't find it right now, but she leads the league in
It's
that, and she's run 25 miles. Did you hear him say that? She's run
No.
25 miles in these finals. So I mean, Nafisha Collier, I see why she was obviously in the talk for the player of the year or the MVP of the league. She is an incredible player, and that fadeaway jump shot. I mean, how do you defend that? You just
It's unstoppable. Like, I don't know what you do. And then, sometimes she fades away and then sometimes she leans into you and then fades away. So she's not like a one-trick pony. Like, she's got a couple different finishes.
Oh yeah, her footwork is incredible. Her footwork
Yeah,
is it's a clinic on the inside the outside game. I mean, none of these players. That's also something that I think is not necessarily unique to the league, but we don't see very many players that aren't versatile. Like think
that's
about
true.
Jonquel Jones, very underrated player if you ask me.
Very underrated.
What does she have? She's 6'6" or something like that, and giant wingspan, and is an incredible post player. Very difficult to defend when Jonquel gets the ball, but then she can step out and she's in the 3-point contest in the
Yeah, she almost
All-Star game,
won.
and she almost won. So I mean, we've got players that are just all around good basketball players. Some players that are like 6'6" guards. Let's talk Breanna Stewart for a little bit. She had something to prove, and I think she
Hmm.
did it.
Hmm.
Talk a little bit about her
Yeah,
performance in game one.
in game one.
Yeah.
Um, well, she had a good game up until the
Yeah.
end.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously she missed the game-winning free throw, and the game ended up going to overtime,
And let's
which
not forget the
can,
game-winning layup.
right, the
Also,
game-winning there was it winning or no, it was winning, not tying, it was winning
yeah,
layup. But I mean, I think she's just like mentally pretty locked in now. She went 10 for 10 for free throws last night. She is
yeah.
not. I would be surprised if she never misses another free throw in her whole career. Like,
I agree. Yeah, I think that she's never going to let that ever happen again. And her performance last night was incredible. I know that everybody's watching. I guess I didn't know we called Sabrina Sab, but I heard some folks calling her Sab.
yeah,
So let's do that. So Sab shots. I mean, yeah, those were huge, and they will go down in history, and they will be those shots that we watch over and over again. Kind of like when Duke won the Final Four with Christian Laettner hitting something. I mean, maybe I'm talking about something that's way before your time. There is a
talk about
generation gap here.
Enrique at Notre Dame. Come on.
The Enrique Notre Dame, which why isn't she on the WNBA All-Star list? I mean, if we're going by stats, uh, I don't see any stat that puts Alyssa Thomas on that team. I'm sorry, I'm jumping
No.
ahead, but I'm just so frustrated that Alyssa
Yeah.
Thomas is on that team. But so what was I talking about? Lost track. Breanna Stewart. Yeah, Breanna Stewart was a beast last night. Absolutely played lights out. Will she get 30 and 10, 30
30
points,
and
10
11.
rebounds, 30 and
11
11.
rebounds.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I
That's
had
not bad
her
at all.
as the player of the game, like the most important player on the court last night.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
like we said, 30 points, 11 rebounds. She shot 45% from the field, which is good, really good.
Yeah.
Um, she had 4 blocks, which, wow, they were impressive.
Yeah.
She had so many like tough buckets that were like, and then she got to finish the free throw on them. Like, she was just
Mhm.
playing out of her mind. And this is what stuck with me is that for the first 7 minutes of the third quarter, she was the only player on the Liberty to score.
Which is a problem, but
It's
it's
a
also
problem for the Liberty, but it
yeah.
shows how important she was get the win last night. Like, obviously we said Sabrina hit the big shot. but they don't win that game without Brianna Stewart. There's no way in
A
hell they
hundred,
win.
100%. So what's going to be the key for the Lynx if they want to take this to a game 5? I'm scared for them.
But yeah,
Because even if they pull off this game 4 Friday in Minneapolis, they got to go
they got
back
to
to
go
the
back to New
Liberty,
York.
or they got to go back to play in the Barclays Center, and that's not a friendly place. But neither is the Lynx environment. But
No.
they're going to be tough to beat at home. But what is going to be the key for the Lynx to pull this out?
Yeah, I had a couple keys. I think obviously this was the first game that they had a fast start, that they got out to a lead, and they didn't win. But I think they have a much better shot if they can have a fast start, get going early, than having to play from behind like they did the first two games. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, they need to stay aggressive. They talked about how they want to like punch him in the face for the first 5 minutes. They just want to get out and get going. They need to do that again. Um, I talked about the defense and the rebounding. Like honestly, just like keep it up. It was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
it
we
was
need
really
more
good.
production out of Carlton. She had been
Mhm.
so key throughout the season, and she's been a little quiet in the playoffs. She came alive last night. We need McBride to stay being McBride. I mean,
Yeah, five
McBubbin.
threes last night. Like,
Yeah, and she is a key for that team. And then Nafisha needs to keep being Nafisha, and Courtney Williams. I feel like she's got to be on the floor all the time. There was a period where they took Williams out and had Heineman in, and I was like, what are we doing here? I mean, the Lynx
yeah, I
coach
didn't
was
coach of the year. Like,
coach of the
you know,
year, so I'm sure there was a
we're
good
not.
reason. I'm
Yeah,
not, yeah, I'm armchairing, but I mean, they need a little deeper bench, maybe.
I agree. Well, and here's my thing with Heidemann coming in. Like, when other people got switched on to Stewie, like I would get nervous. Like Kayla McBride got switched on to Stewie a couple times, and I got nervous, but it usually ended up fine. Heidemann cannot guard
No,
Stewie or Jones or anyone.
yeah, exactly. I saw Williams got switched on to Stewart, and I was like, well, she's going to score. And of course, then, yes, she did score. Well,
But
it's
I
going to
feel
be
like Heidemann is more of a defensive liability than Courtney Williams.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And I just love Courtney Williams. I mean, her energy, she plays with pure joy. And then I love when they cut to her dad. She looks just like
Oh
him.
yeah.
It's such so fun, so fun. Um, we're going to get to watch that game 4. We'll be together in
Yep.
person watching, so we'll be able to have that experience, and then hopefully we'll be able to see a game 5. And I would imagine, that the Liberty, they've got something to prove. They've never won a championship,
It's true.
and the Lynx, they have kind of a dynasty. I mean, it's been a while,
Been a while, but you know,
they've had
one of
that
the best
experience.
players to ever play Maya Moore was a Lynx. So, um, other things that I think the Lynx, um, this is what I noticed, and I know in game one I was critical of how early in the shot clock they were shooting. I sometimes like it was the first side and they would shoot it too early, and I didn't like it. Well, now they had a couple of shot clock violations, or they were get a lot of times they got it up at the end of the shot clock. So I think they need to find their pace better on offense. They need to work on the offensive pacing.
Yeah,
And then,
that's a great point. That's a great
yeah,
point. And and they've got to contest shots and play the kind of defense that got them that good lead to begin with.
right.
I don't know if their defensive intensity was as strong in that third quarter as it had been. And also, let's just face it, you got to put the ball in the basket, and they weren't hitting as many shots. So, hitting that offensive glass, which is tough when you've got, Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart, and you're trying to out rebound them when they've got 7 foot wingspans. And I heard Rebecca Lobo last night say something about the 7'1" wingspan and how it's kind of hard to buy clothes, but it's great on the basketball court. So,
Yeah, when she got a 3-point block.
yes, yes, yes.
Those are hard.
All right, okay, we
And
keep
then
alluding. Oh, go ahead. Did you have
and
more to say
then
about the game?
yeah, obviously if Alana Smith can, be healthy by Friday, that's a game changer. Like I really believe they would have won that game if she wasn't hobbled.
If she was hobbled, I don't know what the injury is. I mean, they kept saying things about her back, but man, I mean, you could tell she had the grimace and the tears, and she's trying to play through it. But she is really the only one that can guard anybody big down in on the Liberty lineup, and so yeah, she's key. Her health will be key. I hope she gets rested, and she's ready to go so that uh, we can have a game 5. I'd love a game 5. I just don't want this to end. I've had so
I
much
know.
fun. I've had so much fun. Now we are going to continue our podcast. In the future, we'll get into the college game, but right now the WNBA deserves all of our attention. Let's talk about this WNBA first team. Let's list
Okay.
them out here. Who's
Yeah.
on it?
So it's Caitlin Clark.
Oh, wait a second. I thought reality was coming.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't.
reality came. Reality came for
Yeah,
sure. And
I mean,
props to Diana. I did Caitlin Clark struggle at the beginning of the year? Of course. Was
mhm,
there an adjustment period? Of course. It's all new people. She's had no break. It's a very physical game, but what an incredible year for Caitlin Clark. So I think she 100% deserves this spot on the team.
absolutely led
She
the
has
league in
proven her,
assists,
yeah, and in
three-pointers made.
threes, yes.
Hmm.
So there is no question. And I think it was important that she was even in the discussion. I mean, we know she was Rookie of the Year almost unanimously. Who voted against her? I want to know because
Well, and then 66 people put her on the first team, and one person didn't, and then 66 people voted for her to be Rookie of the Year. I think we got one hater on our hands.
we've got one hater. We've got one hater. I'd love to know who that is because that's silliness and bitterness, and it's just not a good look. Okay, let's skip the next one. We'll talk about her. Brianna Stewart.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was third, and she was got third place in MVP voting. Um, you know, one of the best players in the league, time and time again. And obviously we saw that last night. She had, 30
For
piece.
sure.
We could talk about her for a long time. I
And
don't
then
think
Asia.
anyone is, yeah, I don't think anyone's questioning that Asia Wilson or Brianna Stewart, deserve to be on this team. Asia Wilson, first player in league history to score 1,000 points in a season. Um,
Yeah.
that's
So
that's just,
this whole narrative that you have to win a championship to be the best, is
mm,
that still true? Because we have Asia Wilson as the MVP of the league, but I don't see the Aces in the finals. So
that's a
yeah,
good point.
I think we can put that one to bed. That's not a thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, Asia Wilson, we could talk about her for a long time. I mean, talk about a 6'6" guard. I mean, she can do anything. And so can Nafisha Collier. And so
Yeah.
I totally agree with those 4 choices. Let's
And
talk about Alyssa
something else that
Thomas.
oh yeah,
Oh,
for sure. I was just gonna say only guard on the list. That is pretty impressive. Caitlin Clark's the only guard. Um, and I
yeah.
can't, and like, I don't know. I just think, you look at like defensive player of the year, MVP, like it's usually big girls, especially lately.
Mhm.
So having success as, I mean, she's 6 feet tall. She's not small, but Caitlin is definitely this, smallest person on this list and having success in the league. it's definitely notable against
For
Hawkins.
sure. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the pick that drives me nuts. Alyssa Thomas.
10.6 points per game.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, and just I want to know why. Why is she on this list?
I don't know. I mean, she had a few, I don't remember how many, but she had at least one or two triple doubles, which is a big deal.
Great.
That's
Sure.
good. But when did triple doubles become like the most important thing? More
Right.
important than having 19 points per game, like Sabrina, or like 22 points per game for Enrique. Like you know, when did having
Yeah.
10, 10, 10 in your stat line become more important than being, you know, one of the best players? And
Exactly. I think about if I'm picking the all WNBA first team, I'm picking who are the most exciting players to watch. That'd be my criteria. And of course, I'd look at stats. But Alyssa Thomas is not an exciting player to watch unless you want to watch somebody play very physical, sometimes very dirty, and shoot. Now I understand that her shot, if you've ever seen her shot, it's very shot putty. And I understand that's due to some shoulder injuries. I get it, but she's not an exciting player to watch. She's an enforcer. She's a good player. I mean, I'd want her on my
yeah,
team, but she's not all WNBA caliber. If you want to talk about who's exciting, we can name. You've already named a few. Who's the All Star of the WNBA All Star Game or the MVP of the All Star Game? Arike. Um, who else? Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum is exciting to watch and was a key player for the Aces this year. Who else might you have chosen instead of Thomas?
definitely putting Jonquel Jones over Alyssa Thomas.
Tell me
Like,
why.
I mean, like we talked about how she's so versatile, which is really, really impressive for her size. But then there also is her size, which makes her like unstoppable. Like I don't want to guard anybody in the WNBA. I'd get my butt kicked.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Alyssa Thomas is a really good player. She's a great
Yes.
player, even. Do not get me wrong. But I would rather have to go up against Alyssa Thomas than Jonquel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
is just no stopping Jonquel Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at stats. There's other people that could even be in this conversation. You got points per game. Kalia Copper. We put her on the
Ooh,
Olympic team, but we can't put her on the WNBA All Star team. Or MVP. What is this called? First team.
yeah.
Let's look at some others here. Big fan of Enrique. Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Mitchell was very impressive this year. And I'm not saying that maybe that she should be first team WNBA, but she was an impressive player. She was fun to watch. Even if you look at fantasy points, you got Asia Wilson leading in fantasy points per game. You had her on your fantasy, which I had never played anything fantasy before, and we played
Fantasy is
WNBA.
so fun.
It's so fun. It's a lot of work. I mean, they play a lot of games. Nafisha Collier was second. Caitlin Clark was third. Arike was fourth in fantasy points. And Brianna Stewart was fifth in fantasy points. So I'm going with Arike. I know that her team did not have a great year, but she has the stats to put her there. Steals per game, she led the league. So
Hmm.
what Alyssa Thomas is doing on that team is beyond me. I'm sure she's a nice person off the court, but she's just not fun for me to watch. I don't. I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those are all good points. Yeah, I think
And Sabrina, what did I mention
I would
Sabrina?
put I would have gone with Sabrina. for my fifth person on the all WNBA first team. That's who I would have went with, you know.
Yeah. Even though if I have to see that CarMax commercial one more time,
Oh
where
my
the,
goodness. Was
I,
it
I, I,
was it
I'm done.
fine winning MVP?
I can't see that anymore. I mean, I love that they get all these commercials and so forth, but let's let them make some new ones because those of us that are watching every single game, we can't watch them
Over
all
and
crammed into
over
that
and
car
over.
anymore. Over and over.
But
No.
you know what commercial I do like that's new is the Aaliyah Boston one. That
Yeah.
one is
So,
cute.
with the little girl shooting the
Yeah,
three-pointer.
little girl
Why did
who's
she
shooting
tell
a
her to
free throw.
just my problem with that? I love it. It's a really feel good and but why did she tell her to just throw it away? Um, I feel like that's could we just throw it away? Is that just what is that about? I mean, I get it. She's throwing away, a wadded up piece of paper into the trash can, but throw it away. Why would you want that in your mind? Why would that be your self-talk?
I was kind of thinking of like of it as like, oh, throw away all the fear, like get rid of that.
Okay.
That's how I saw it.
Okay. Then I'm a bigger fan of that commercial. But I love the commercial anyway. I just thought the tagline was kind of strange. Like you'd want something more empowering, but I get it. Throw away the stress. Just throw it away like a piece of trash. Do it.
But speaking of Aaliyah Boston, I'd probably take her over Alyssa Thomas.
Hell yes. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Aaliyah Boston, rookie of the year last year, key player for, I mean, talk about most improved team in the
Yeah.
league. I mean, Fever made the playoffs. They hadn't done that in years. There's so many people that I would have picked instead.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah. I
I
think,
think we've probably hit it, and we're ready to wrap this first inaugural Wild Wiles. What is this called again?
Wild Wiles Sports.
Wild Wiles Sports. So
Yeah,
you want to
this
take
was a
us
lot
out?
of fun. Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Well,
Um,
this is like what all of our phone conversations sound like. So, I mean,
exactly.
really what we're doing is just letting the world hear us pretend like
Yeah,
we know what we're talking about. Our favorite
that's true.
tagline when we're watching
We
something.
have this thing. So, I think it started with Caitlin Clark. Sometimes Caitlin Clark would take a shot, and I would be like, "Ooh, don't shoot that!" Or like we would say something as if like that was someone made a bad decision, and then it would end up going fine. Like she would make the shot or whatever, and we would say, "I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I never have."
That's what, anytime we watch, we'll be like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Never have. Maybe that's what we
No,
should have called the podcast.
that's long.
That is
But
too long.
yeah, for anyone who watched this and has any thoughts about, stuff you want to hear us talk about, yeah, please let us know. You can comment. We have an email account. It's wildwildsports@gmail.com. You can shoot us an email. Yeah, we want to hear from you guys, what you want us to talk about. We'll be sure to fit it
Yeah.
in.
And share it. Share our podcast. If you enjoyed it, share it with a friend. Tell them how to do that, Elaine, because I don't really know how.
Yeah. So we have a Twitter, Wild Wild Sports. We have an Instagram and a Facebook, all Wild Wild Sports. We have a website, it's a Google site, so it's not just wildwildsports.com, but the link is on all our socials. And we have a YouTube channel. So you can check out any of those. And yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah, we are. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks, Elaine, Elaine did all the legwork on the technology. I just bring the good looks and personality.
Yeah.
That's about it. And
All
the
right.
background on the Zoom. I hope you watched and enjoyed my background on the Zoom.
Me too. All right. We'll see you next time
See you
on
next
Wild
time.
Wild Sports.
You bet.